So it has almost been a month since US and Israel waged an illegal, unprovoked attack on Iran under the guise of regime change, and the objectives throughout the war has been changing, which just shows that US never really had an objective to begin with, at least not a concrete one. And Donald Trump was probably just either coerced into it or was shown a greater purpose or glory that now seems to be shattering. And let's just look at some of the latest developments. So, a couple of days ago, Trump released this tweet. Let's just go through it together. All of those countries that can't get jet fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number one, buy from the US. We have plenty. And number two, build up some delayed courage. Go to the strait and just take it. Yeah, nobody's thought of that. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore. Just like you weren't there for us, Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil. What a lunatic. Okay, right from the top of my head. If Iran is decimated, why can't they take control of the Strait of Hormuz? That makes no sense. US just went in, you know what, it's just going to be an incursion, just a field trip. Let's just go see what the weather is like over there. Destabilize the entire Middle East and then leave it up to NATO to just fix things for you. This is such a stupid take, especially after you have started something and are unable to stop it. Like, from the gist of it, Trump wants to take an off ramp and wants to retreat from Iran, claiming victory as if it has decimated Iran. But it's clearly not the case, and it is very unlikely this is what Trump actually means. So, this could mean a few things. First, he's saying this to manipulate the markets again, to stabilize it, to curb it, which is what he has been doing for a few weeks now. It's inevitable. It's going to crash at some point, right? Second, it's kind of like an Israeli tactic where you are threatening your allies to get into the war on your behalf by saying, you know what, we are going to leave it. There's going to be big damage to you, a big threat, more of an economic collapse because you guys depend on it and we don't as much. But it is going to come back and bite US as well because it exports a lot of goods, food. Or thirdly, he could be hoping that Iran would drop their guard after reading this, since they'd be backing off. But that is highly unlikely, and I really doubt Iran would because they absolutely do not believe the US. They went ahead and bombed Iran during negotiations while Iran was in compliance, and there is absolutely no reason for Iran to further trust US. Or fourth, and this is a very dangerous territory, but I believe he's trying all of this at the same time because there is going to be a ground invasion most likely this weekend, given that Easter is there. It would be an extended weekend, so right now actually seems a very good time to attack. That is what makes sense, right? He does it over the weekend, so the market collapse is not seen over the weekend. It's a delayed effect, and now it's going to be an even more delayed effect. So he's hoping they can bring about a change as quickly as possible, going for the ground invasion. But I think this is just going to backfire, and they will be there for a long time, for a long time. So here's the price increases since the start of Iran war, and I'm not going to take this since it's not like really verified, but there is some truth to it, and let's just see how the prices have increased. Heating oil 77%, European natural gas 71%, Brent, WTI crude oil 58, 51, urea 48, diesel 44, sulfur 43, gasoline 42, fertilizer 29. I mean, there's just so much increase. On top of that, fertilizer is very important. We need it to grow crops, and there's going to be food scarcity and water scarcity. So I think that's going to be like affected heavily over the coming years if it is not tended to at the moment. Urea is another thing that helps in producing fertilizers, and there's been a lot of shutdown. Like, let's just go through this. So yeah, here's a very concerning map of the fertilizer plant closures across Asia, and India particularly. The situation is very dire over the coming years. It will be affected if this war is prolonged and continues. Here is another thing to notice. Europe is pushing back on some US military operations, with multiple countries now prohibiting the US and Israel from using their airspace for missions in the Iran war. France, Italy, and Spain denied US military support or airspace for Iran operations. Israel wanted to use France's airspace to transport US weapons to be used in the Iran war, but the request was denied. Italy told the US they need special permission for military base uses outside of existing agreements. Trump has accused France of blocking some military aircraft from flying over its territory, which I think is partially false, because Le Monde, it publishes this article around the same time. France has not banned all military overflights to Israel and the Middle East. While Donald Trump sparked controversy by accusing Paris of closing its airspace to flights carrying US weapons to Israel, that is not the case for many other flights, according to 3 official sources speaking on condition of anonymity. So it doesn't seem to be the complete case, but there is a partial obstruction, and rightfully so. I mean, NATO was not consulted before this war started, right? So why should they be involved or taking the fall for US and Israel? And this is just literally Israel pushing for war. They have done many false flag operations as well that they've carried out. So basically, Israel's main tactic is to create a lot of chaos and confusion, and then to use the fog of war to carry out false flag operations so as to pull neighboring countries or allies to join the war and to fight their battles. A few days ago, there were reports that Iran had fired ballistic missiles towards Turkey, which were intercepted by the NATO forces. And this is the 4th missile since the start of the war, and Iran has rejected this. So the next thing, Iran calls up Turkey, lets them know and warns them about further false flag operations by the enemies, and lets them know that they are ready for a joint technical cooperation for investigation into this matter. So Israel and US have been bombing Iran blindly. Just on the first day, they bombed a school in which there were reported death of over 160 female students, which was tragic. And so during the war, US wanted to test out their new missiles, which they ended up hitting Iranian sports hall and school. And if you read the article, the sports hall at the time of the strikes was being used by a female volleyball team, according to Amir Saeed Iravani, Iran's representative of the United Nations. Not just schools, have even targeted pharmaceutical companies right over here. The head of Iran's Food and Drug Administration announced that in the early hours of Tuesday, following several missiles striking the Tawfiq Daru industrial complex, the production units and research and development sections of the pharmaceutical company factory were completely destroyed. So they are like, you should not even get medical aid. You should not be able to heal yourselves. I don't understand what the strategy is, and whatever the strategy is, they are losing the narrative by doing all of this, and which is actually good, because if you see, there's one thing being evil, there's one thing being smart, and there's one thing being both. And so far, our narratives, our history have been controlled mostly by people who are both evil and smart. And for the first time, we have somebody dumb who is evil and is carrying out a tyrannical strike on Iran under the guise of regime change, and is affecting adversely the entire world, and suddenly wants to wipe off hands and say, you know what, this is not really my fight, this is not really my war. Why did you enter then for Israel? You could have said the same thing, right? Unless they are manipulating you and coercing you. They have something on the EPSTEIN files, they have some video footage. It's not a secret that Mossad had a major hand behind the recordings of the EPSTEIN files, But like, yeah, let's see where this war goes on. So far, I have been paralyzed kind of by this information for the past 4 weeks. I just figured I should get on it and explain to the world my side, my point of view, and how it has been affecting me. I'm quite terrified. I am very, very terrified. I don't know. I feel it's horrific. I feel like it's escalating every day drastically. Even though it is happening fast, it is not happening as fast as I think it is. Okay, because in my head it's like the end of times, and it's just crazy because I think I'm in panic. But I just wanted to share it. Maybe this will help relieve some of the panic and pressure that has been built up. But let's see where this goes. If you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe. Also, do comment what your perspective is on this war, and is it justified? Where is it heading? I would love to know. Let's get through this together.